Hello, my beloved students at Al Muhammadiyah School and Kindergarten. I hope you and your families are feeling great. Today, we're going to start with a new grammar topic, the passive voice. You can find this in your student book, page 87 and 89. Before we start dealing with the grammar rule, let's know what's the difference between passive and active. We use active voice to say what the actor or the subject does. That means when the sentence is in the active form, it usually concentrates on the subject of the sentence. On the subject. Passive voice is used to say what happens to the object. So now when we have a sentence in the passive voice, the important element from the sentence is the object. One of the most important elements of the passive is the verb to be. So if you have any problems dealing with the verb to be, this table will definitely help you. When we have a sentence in the present simple tense, we are going to use is, am, or are. When we are dealing with a sentence in the past simple tense, we have the choices that are was and were. We know that was is used with he, she, and it. Were is used with they, you, we, and I. When the sentence is in the present continuous tense, we're going to use is, am, are, depending on the subject, followed by being. If we have the sentence in the past continuous, we're going to use was, were, plus being. If the sentence is in the present perfect tense, we're gonna use has or have been. If it is in the past perfect tense, we're going to use had been. If we're dealing with the future, we're going to use will be. What is the passive voice? Passive voice is used when the focus is on the action, not on the actor. By that we mean that the important thing is the action, and as we previously also said, it could be the object. So now we are drawing the attention from the subject of the sentence into the action or into the object. Let's have a look at an example. My grandfather built a house. When I'm talking about changing a sentence into passive, that means I want to draw attention to the object of that sentence or just to the action there. Okay, so how do I do that? The first thing I do is I have to look for the object. So where is the object of the sentence? Yes, the house is actually the object, as I previously told you, and my grandfather is the subject. So what happens now? Now I'm going to take the object of the sentence because I want to show that it is becoming more important and put it in the subject's place. Okay, once I put it in the subject's place, I will have a quick look at the verb that I have. So the verb that I have is in which tense? It is in the past simple tense. Since it's in the past simple tense, I will take this verb and change it into verb 3. It's already, we know, build, built, built. Okay? And you put it here. Okay? So, where does the verb to be go? The verb to be goes immediately after the object that became the subject. Okay, so because we said the, the, uh, the sentence is in the past simple tense, so I have to choose the correct form of the past simple form of the verb to be, which was either was or were. And in this case, it is was because a house is a singular word. So the sentence becomes, a house was built by my grandfather. So what happens? You put afterwards by, and you put the main subject of the previous sentence or the sentence that was in the active. If it is a pronoun, you just could omit that part. So you don't have to use by. You could easily just use it. You could easily just only say a house was built. Now I'm going to make it more simple. I'm going to start with each verb separately. The first verb that we are going to deal with is present simple. So now, let's see how do we deal with a sentence in the active form and how we are going to change it into the passive form. So, we have the main verb. What are we going to do with the main verb? We're going to put is, are, or am plus the past participle. Let's look at an example. Somebody cleans this room every day. So, where is the object of the sentence? Yes, this room. So, our passive sentence is going to start with this room. What's the tense of the sentence? It's present simple, as you can see, because here we have an S. Okay, so what do we do with this verb? We change it into verb 3. What's the verb 3 of clean? Yes, cleaned. We agreed that this room is going to be at the beginning of the sentence. We're going to leave some space afterwards, and after that we're going to add cleaned. What is the appropriate verb to be for this sentence? Because we're talking about this room and this is a singular noun, that means we're going to use is. So the sentence becomes, this room is cleaned by somebody every day. Okay, you can take out the part by somebody because we don't know who is it, so that's why we don't need it. So we started with this room. After that, we left the space for us to fill it with the verb to be. Afterwards, we took the main verb of the main sentence and changed it into verb 3. Now, let's have a look on how do we form a present simple passive sentence when we have a negative form. You know, we form a present simple tense in the negative form, starting with the subject, followed by do or does. We said it depends on the subject. If it is he, she, or it, we use does. If we have we, they, you, and I, we use do. After that, it is followed by not, and we have the main verb of the sentence. If we want to change it into passive, you just take the form of the verb to be, which are either is or are or am. You add to it not, and you take the main verb of that sentence and change it into the past participle. Example. Somebody doesn't clean this room every day. Where is the object? This room. Correct. This room, we're going to start the passive sentence with this room. After that, we have to look at the verb. What's the verb tense? In this case, doesn't clean means it is a present simple tense. So what do? We agreed that the appropriate form of the verb to be is either is, are, or am, and because we have a singular noun, which is this room, we're going to use is. So the sentence becomes, this room isn't cleaned every day. Again, cleaned is the main verb, and we pick it up and put it in the verb 3 form. Now, let's have a look on how do we form present simple interrogative forms in the passive. First, let's start. How do we form a question in the present simple? Yes, we start with do or does, depending on the subject. After that, it is followed by a subject, then the main verb of the sentence. For me, if I want to change it into a passive form, just exchange the do or does that you have with is, are, or am, depending on the subject of the passive sentence, and follow it by the past participle of the main verb. Let's have a look at an example to make it clearer. Does somebody clean this room every day? This is a question in the present simple tense. It started with does, with the subject afterwards. After that, we have the main verb, and this is the object. Because we're dealing with passive, we're going to start with the object. This. Okay, so the object is going to be the subject for the passive sentence. So I told you the first thing that you do is just exchange the does with is, are, or am. In this case, we are going to use is because our new subject is this room. So we're going to use the singular form of the verb to be in the present simple. The new sentence becomes, is this room cleaned? Because we have the main verb is clean. Verb 3 from it is cleaned. And finally, every day. Is this room cleaned every day? The next tense that we are going to talk about is the past simple. So now when it comes to the past simple, we're going to have to look at the main verb. After identifying or knowing that the main verb is in the past simple tense, we're going to use was and were and change that main verb into the past participle form, which is verb 3. Let's have a look at an example. Somebody cleaned this room yesterday. Where is the object of the sentence? Yes, this room. So as we did in the previous sentence, we're going to take the object and put it at the beginning of the sentence. After that, we're going to look at the main verb. In this case, it is in the past simple tense. We leave just a little bit of space and we take the verb 3 of cleaned. What's the verb 3 of cleaned? It's cleaned. So what's left? There is a space between this room and the cleaned in the new sentence. So we are going to fill it with the appropriate form of the verb to be, which is was or were. This is was because, as we said, this room is a singular noun, correct? So the new sentence becomes, this room was cleaned yesterday. Now, let's have a look on how do we form a passive sentence in the present continuous tense. You know, an active sentence starts with a subject followed by is, are, or am, with the verb followed by ing. But if you want to change that sentence into passive, I will start with the subject, followed by is, are, am, followed by being, which is the appropriate form for the continuous in the passive, followed by the past participle. Shall we look at an example? Somebody is cleaning this room at the moment. Where is the object? Correct. This room. As you can see, the sentence is in the present continuous tense. So what's the appropriate form of the verb to be? Is being. So the new sentence will be, this room is being, and we agreed, what's the verb 3 of cleaning? It's cleaned. So our sentence becomes, this room is being cleaned at the moment. Another tense that we are going to deal with is the present perfect tense. How do we build a present perfect tense? We use a subject plus have or has plus the verb in the past participle form, which is the verb 3. So if I have a sentence in the present perfect tense and it is in the active form and I want to change it into the passive, okay, what do? I take the appropriate verb to be choice, which is have or has plus been, and I take the verb 3 of the main verb of the sentence. Let's have a look at an example. This room looks nice. Somebody has cleaned this room. So what do we do? What's the object? Where's the object? This room. Yes, so we start our passive sentence with this room. After that, it is followed by the appropriate form of the verb to be in the same tense, which is what? This room is singular, so I'm going to use has been. Where is the main verb? The main verb is cleaned. What's the verb 3 of the main verb? It's cleaned. So our new sentence becomes, this room looks nice. This room has been cleaned. Or, this room looks nice. It, we used here a pronoun because we don't want to mention this room again. Okay? But you could put, this room has been cleaned. Again, has been, because the main sentence was in the present perfect tense. Another tense that we are going to deal with is the simple future. A simple future sentence in the active form would be a subject plus will plus the main verb, which is in the base form. If I need to change that sentence into the passive form, I will have to take the object of the main sentence and make it followed by will plus be, which is the appropriate form of the verb to be that represents future, followed by past participle. Let's look at an example to make it easier. Somebody will clean this room tomorrow. Where is the subject of the passive sentence? Yes, this room. So you start your passive sentence with this room. What is the appropriate form of the verb to be? It is will be. So the new sentence becomes, this room will be. What is the verb 3 of clean as we previously mentioned? it's clean. So the new sentence is, this room will be cleaned tomorrow. This room will be cleaned tomorrow. Another example that I would like to discuss are verbs with two objects. Let's have a look at some examples. Jane wrote a letter. This is a sentence with only one object, which is a letter. If we look at the second example, Jane wrote a letter to Jack. In this case, the sentence has two objects, which is the first one is the letter, a letter, and the second one is Jack. And to make sure that these two objects are really the objects of the sentence, try to rewrite it in a different way, which is by simply exchanging the places of the objects. So the sentence becomes, Jane wrote Jack a letter. Jack is an object and a letter is the other object. So when I want to change a sentence into the passive form, which object do I take? You simply can take any of them. Let's start by making the letter or a letter the subject of the sentence. A letter was written to Jack by Jane. Another way is Jack was written a letter by Jane. That's it. You can pick any of them. Either you could start with a letter, so the sentence becomes a letter was written. You could continue it with to Jack, or just a letter was written would be enough. And after that you have Jack was written a letter by Jane. As we said, this is optional. Before we start an exercise, let's have a look at the general structure of the passive sentences. As I told you, one of the most important components, ingredients, part is the verb to be. So you have to know the conjugations for the verb to be. I already gave them in the previous slides. Okay? If it is a present simple, you have to use is, are, or am. If we're talking about past simple, we're going to use was or were. If we're talking about present perfect, we could use have, been, and etc. Plus the past participle. The past participle in this case is for the main verb of the sentence, the verb that usually gives you the action of the sentence. Let's have a look at one of the examples. Mark stole my bike. What's the tense of this sentence? Yes, it's past simple, because as you can see, stole is the past simple of steal. Where is the object? Yes, my bike. So I know the object, I know the tense of the sentence. That means I can transfer or change it into passive. What's the first thing that we start with? Yes, it's my bike. So since we're talking about the past simple, the two choices that I have are was or were. And because it's a singular subject, that means I'm going to use was. What's the verb 3 of stole? It's steal, stole, stolen. So our new sentence becomes, my bike was stolen by Mark. As I told you before, by mark, you could either keep it or you could delete it. Because I'm not interested in who stole it. I'm just talking about the action, or just drawing attention that it was the object or my bike was the thing that was stolen. I don't care who did it. Another example. We have made a mistake. What's the tense of this sentence? It is present perfect because we have has plus verb 3. Where is the object? A mistake. Correct. So we start. A mistake has been made. So the correct form was has been because our original sentence was in the present perfect. And we took the action verb of the sentence, which is made, and used the verb 3 of it, which is in this case made, the same. Next, Lara writes a letter to her friend weekly. What's the tense of the sentence? Correct, present simple because we have an S here. Okay, I will give you just 5 seconds to try to figure out the correct answer. Let's see, did you guess correctly? A letter is written weekly by Lara. We said this is the present simple, so I will take this verb and change it into verb 3, and before it I put the appropriate form of the verb to be, that in this case is the present simple form. This is. Now let's do this exercise. It is found in your passive worksheet in your booklet. Number one. I clean my room every day. Where is the object that we need to start our passive sentence? Yes, my room. What's the tense of the sentence? Present simple. What is the correct form of the verb to be? Is, yes. And what's the verb 3 from clean? Clean. So our new sentence is, my room is cleaned every day. 2. Tom bought a nice present yesterday. Where is the object of the sentence? A nice present. What's the tense of the sentence? It is bought, which is the past simple. What's the correct verb form of the verb to be? Was or were. What's verb 3 from both? Both. So can you structure your sentence? Yes. A nice present was bought yesterday. 3. Anna will sing a beautiful song. Where is the object? A beautiful song. This is the subject for the passive sentence. Will sing. What's the tense? It's future. Yes. Can you construct the new sentence in passive? A beautiful song will be sang, and sang is the verb 3 from sing. 4. Ben repaired my computer yesterday. Where is the object? What's the verb tense? What is the appropriate verb to be for that? And as you can see, this is the verb 3 of prepared. Can you structure the sentence? Let's see. Did you guess correctly? A computer, or sorry, my computer was repaired yesterday. 5. My sister is making a tasty cake now. Where is the object? A tasty cake. What's the tense of the sentence? It's present continuous. What's the correct form of the present continuous? Is being. What's the verb 3 of make, which is the action verb of the sentence? It's make, made, made. Can you construct now the sentence in the passive? A tasty cake is being made now. 6. We have bought tickets to the concert. Where is the object? It's tickets. What's the tense of the sentence? It's past. It's present perfect. What's the correct form of the verb for the present perfect? Have been. Verb 3 of the verb bought is bought. So our sentence becomes tickets have been bought. 7. Helen teaches French at school. Where is the object? French. What's the tense? Present simple. Can you construct the sentence? So French is taught by Helen at school. 8. They grow strawberries every year. Where is the object? What's the tense of the verb? Okay, let's see. Can you construct the sentence? I'll give you 2 seconds to think of it. Okay, let's see. Did you construct it correctly? Strawberries are grown every year. 9. Tim sent an SMS to his friend. Where is the subject? Where is the object? It's an SMS. It's a message. What's the tense of the sentence? Yes, past simple. How can we say it using passive? Yes, an SMS was sent to Tim's friend by Tim. You could delete it or keep it. 10. She has written a test today. What's the tense of the sentence? It's present perfect. Where is the object? A test. Can you construct the sentence? Yes, correctly. A test has been written today. My dear students, I know that what I previously taught you is a lot, But actually, when it comes to passive and tenses, you have to practice. So please, go through your student book, which is page 87 and 89, and your workbook, page 78 and 80, and try to solve those pages. Wish you the best of luck. I miss you all. Lots of love, your English teacher.